Alright, so I want to take a look at the US Pro Tools 4 drawer in white toolbox. It's just the top half toolbox. It's a nice size toolbox because it's also got the carry handle, so you can carry it around like a regular metal toolbox, or plastic. Obviously they make plastic toolboxes with the carry handle, don't they, these days? But it's also got the drawers, so you can keep everything uniform and in order. I thought that'd be nice for a little mobile toolbox for me. Obviously you can buy a stand for it and fit it on the top if you want to, but obviously they do bigger ones which are usually used for that purpose. But this is a nice one, so I've just got it out the box. Obviously it does come packaged alright. The wrapper and obviously the protective parts on the back. So you can see US Pro Tools. I did hear something about US Pro Tools by Bergen, but I wonder if that's just the hand tools that they get Bergen to make for them. They probably make their boxes themselves, probably. I'm not really too sure on that. It does look a lot like the Nielsen. Again, whether they're not the same or whether they are built by the same people and they just put the logos and all that business on. When it comes to this, I'm not that sure, because I haven't had a real, I haven't had the Nielsen in front of me. But it does look similar to the Nielsen box. So we'll get it open and we'll have a look. Alright, now we can see that you got your keys, your 2 keys on the top. The box itself doesn't come locked, just the latches are enough to keep it held down. You lift the lid up, you can see there's a little top tray inside with a thin foam insert at the bottom, anti-slip. There's a bigger tray underneath, again with the thin foam insert. The drawers got the inserts as well, they slide out nicely. Little roller mechanism there. They're all the same. They're nice when you shut it, it feels nice when it shuts. Exactly the same. You see, it's just a little resistance there, as you slowly push it in and it just shuts nicely. Again, move it a bit faster and it still just puts a little resistance into the drawer, so it shuts nicely. Shut that down. Absolute US Pro Tools. This one, usually the 4 drawer. Obviously this is in white. They do other colours: red, blue, black, black sides, red front, possibly other colours. They usually retail around £50. This one was £29. Probably because it was one of the last ones in white. They do others around £30, different colours, the same one. I wanted a white one anyway, so it worked out pretty good for me. I looked on their website, they don't seem to have got many of these on there, so I'm assuming that's what it is, but there are some still on eBay, so they might be selling off the last few ones in white at that price. So I thought it was too good to an offer to let down, because, or to let slip by, because a nice toolbox so that I can keep everything organised instead of the usual metal cantilever ones that you carry around. Everything kind of gets chucked on top of each other in there, and you don't really have any kind of organisation to where everything is. And this one, like I said before, can be treated in the same way with the carry handle. It's not too massive, it's not too large, you can carry that to and fro. and even to and fro your workplace if you want to use it for that. So that's about how big it is. They do other ones, like I say. They do 6 drawers and 5 drawers and 8 drawers. They do ones even smaller than this, with 2 drawers. That's even cheaper. I think they're about 20 odd pounds. Again, why this was a good buy, because this wasn't much more itself. They do some with the 1, 2, 3, 4, and then another drawer with which is split into like 2 or 3 little compartments as well. So they do a fair selection, and obviously they do the trays and the wheel carts for underneath toolboxes as well, and the cabinet ones as well, and all that business for underneath. So they've got a fairly good selection of different types of toolboxes. Another one that they do is like a powder coated gunmetal grey type black powder coat on toolboxes. That looks quite nice. I thought the white looked quite nice. You don't really see many of them out there that are white. They're usually blue, red or black. So obviously this has come in the mail, so it's in my house at the minute. I just opened it and got it out. I didn't fancy doing the video out in my workshop because it's winter and it's freezing cold out there. It's about 9:30 on the night as well, and it's quite cold out there in the workshop, so I didn't fancy going out there to do the review. But we might see some tools in there. Might add it onto the end of the video, and just see what it looks like with a few tools in it. Possibly, maybe it's not needed, we'll see. We might see that in a future video anyway, if I'm reviewing something else in the workshop, and I can say, oh, here's what it looks like, the US Pro Tools box from before with some tools in it. So I've got to it was a good buy because of the other cantilever toolboxes. Metal toolboxes do tend to chip when you put the tools in and out of the inside, and then when the paint's chipped, the metal's exposed, and the inside of the metal toolboxes do tend to rust. And what happens over time then, obviously, as you know, rust is like contagious with other things that are metal, and your tools are metal, of course, and then your tools end up rusting after a while. So I do need to get some spray paint and spray the inside of, blow all the stuff out, and I take the tools out of there and paint them up all nice inside, so the tools tools don't get rusty. But I thought this was so cheap that in the meantime should I say, that I can put my tools into this while I prepare the other toolboxes to get spray painted up all nice. And this is what I was going to use anyway. I buy one of these anyway to make sure that's interesting. The lid being down, actually stops the drawers from coming out. Must be something to do with this little indentation here. The back, you can see there's something there. I wonder if there's something that off that hinge maybe that slides down. Yeah, it locks it in place. Now, I don't know. Usually, I'd have thought that it was the key mechanism. When you turn the key mechanism, that it does that on these boxes all along, but obviously it doesn't. Some people might say that's a bit normal. That's normal for these kind of boxes. It basically looks like the mechanism down here locks the trays in place, but the key itself, on that latch, just locks the lid down, so you can't, in essence, lift it up and then unlock them naturally. So that's how it keeps it all locked. So that's probably a natural thing. I always assumed that when you turn the key, there was something that kept the trays locked in place, but obviously that's not the case. You know, it's just something I never really paid much attention to before, to be honest with you. Just say, even in engineering, some of the other blokes had their toolboxes like this in place. There weren't really much room, so I had to bring a couple of cantilever boxes and put them on to the one side. So I always mainly use cantilever boxes anyway, even in when I was in engineering. So, but the nice drawers do keep things nice and organised. You can just open it, grab it. You ain't got to mooch around your toolbox to get what you're looking for. So that's the US Pro Tools 4-drawer box in white, or top box in white. Now I'll probably have it in the title, the proper full title of the item. If you'd like to go and pick one of those up, or browse and have a look to see their catalogue, what other tool boxes and things they have. Now you can. It doesn't come with any. It comes with a tray liner, a thin tray liner, like we said, in all the trays and all the little compartments. But you can actually make your own foam inserts. If you go on eBay, people will sell foam, the same kind of foam or similar kind of foam that will go in the inserts that you buy, you know, for toolboxes. So you can make your own and customize them for your individual tools that you've got yourself anyway. So that's not too much of a concern if that's what you're interested in. You know, making sure they actually fit these dimensions of the boxes themselves. You can do that yourself fairly easily if that's what you like to do. However, the foam in tray insert does tend to stop any you know, extra room or space being used, because you tend to stick a foam insert in there and then you'll put a pair of pliers, you know, in there, and then there'll be a big gap, and then there'll be another pair of pliers in a different kind, and then a big gap, and then some Allen keys, you know, a big gap, and then I don't know, a couple of stubby wrenches or something, and then you tend to lose out half the space. So you could probably fit all of that in that little space just by resting them alongside each other. But then again, you know, when you're carrying the case around, it does tend to bounce about a bit. That's the only thing you've got to be concerned about there. Okay, so just a little look at what the toolbox is like with a few tools in there. Okay, so we've got the lid lifting up. Chuck some of my 3/8 ratchets in there along in the top. I've just bung the two spark plug sockets in there for the minute. I'll probably fit a few 3/8 size sockets in there. Obviously I got my set of 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch in the little case, so I don't really need to fit any sockets in there, although the long ones and things like that for 1/2 inch and 1/4 inch will have to go in there. Chuck some of my spanners in this top rack. Just fill up this space here with a few odds and sods, so just to fill it up for the minute. Just chucked a micrometer in there and some bits and bobs. Now you can't stand your sockets up in there because it won't shut, so you will have to lay them down, reorganise that and lay them down. Obviously a few open-ended spanners in the other end. I'll just chuck them in there just quickly, and again we've got some spanners in on the top, a drawer. Again, the extra weight in there doesn't affect it. Could fit some screwdrivers in there, shut them in. and wrenches and snips and things like that. Fit them in there. It's a bit heavier. Perhaps that one should have been on the bottom, I don't know, but don't really make much difference. Put some Allen keys in there, just stuff that I'd like to use and have a quick grab at, because the drawers makes it easier to do so. So there's no extra you know, it doesn't affect the drawers in any way. The added weight, a good roll on them there. See too detail. Seems alright enough. Seems very good for the money. I'm pleased how it performs for the money. I'll tell you that much for sure. Again, this is fairly light anyway, some screwdrivers, so it's not going to affect the hinges much. Yeah, they all seem to flow nicely. So I've got the dimensions actually written down. It's not a massive box. I'll just put the tape measure out. Yeah. It's 523mm in width by 360mm in height. So it's you know, it's just quite a nice size really, to be honest with you. I just fitted it with some quick grab tools, which I'm likely to just quick grab while I'm in here. Also, like I said before, the cantilever, not so much the plastic type, but these cantilever type toolboxes that I use, they do tend to go rusty because you knock the paint off when you're taking your tools in and out, because tools are hardened, aren't they? So they do knock it about, and then they get rusty, and then that transmits over onto the tools itself. So I need to respray and paint up those boxes when I get time. Obviously in the winter when it's raining a lot and things like that, it's no good spray painting them up outside. I can't exactly do it in here because it's too small really and confined, but it'll save me tools. There's a few tools I'll have to get the brush on. It's starting to go a bit rusty. A few specks appearing. So I had to I'll try and fish them out, and I'll paint up my cantilever boxes in the spring. But I'll save them and get them out of here. Obviously I'll get the wire brush and then I'll get all that rust off, little specks that are appearing. Also things that I put for quick grab, you know, on me, like these the work zone spanners I put for quick grab, would probably be better off in here as well in the long run, because of the atmosphere. You know, it gets very damp, things can start to rust. Obviously things that are cheap I've put up there on purpose as a quick grab. You know, if anything happens then I'm not too bothered about that, but you know, if you can keep them in good condition, then fair enough. And this can either go, being quite small, can go at the end of the work table at the other end, and obviously I can just pull things out as I need it, or it can even just slot in down there on the floor, and I can just pull my hand, pull stuff out, and be the perfect size for that, without having to keep lifting these things that are full of tools, heavy, pulling them out and getting all my stuff out, which it gets to be a pain. But yeah, for the price, £29 plus delivery, can't complain at that. similar one might be purchased again down the road to put alongside it, whether it's the same number of drawers or a few more, a little taller or a little shorter, I don't know. But most of the stuff that you'll need as a quick grab, you can just stick in these drawers. They're not, obviously they're not very deep, the drawers. They're not very you know, they're not overtly long in length. They're not, you know, they haven't got a depth to them that way either. You know, they're not very high, and they're not particularly deep from what you might be used to. But it's a nice size for a quick grab. Obviously, being lockable as well, that's great. So overall, I'm quite pleased with it. It'll serve me well. But that's what the toolbox itself looks like. You want to check their online catalogue out of their various toolboxes and trolleys, and complete, you know, the tool units and all sorts. I'd go and check them out. Okay.